I remember the most intense explanation I ever heard of the gospel. I was actually in Israel, and it was my first time ever to Israel, and I was on like a study trip with one of my old professors, a guy named Doug Bookman, and we were inside what they say is the Garden of Gethsemane. And we actually went into a cave, and my professor explained that this was probably the cave where Jesus was praying to the Father, and he was literally sweating drops of blood. And he recounted the scene to us and explained, look, this was the night before he was betrayed, and he starts explaining this prayer and how Jesus was saying to his Father, to his dad, saying, is there any way you can take this cup from me? Is there any other way? And I remember him he started to get all emotional. And he asked the question, he goes, how in the world does any dad look at his son who is begging him and begging him so desperately that he's sweating drops of blood? How in the world does the dad look at a son who's saying, Dad, is there any other way with that intensity? And then the more he spoke, the more he just started sobbing, like he couldn't even talk. And I remember he just kept looking at us and going, I'm sorry. He goes, but as a dad, and he goes, oh, I'm sorry. And then he just had to walk out the cave. He didn't even finish his message. Meanwhile, we're all sitting in there, welling up with tears in our eyes. I mean, tears start streaming down our cheeks. And I just remember sitting there, and I was so struck with the love of the Father. I was so struck with the love of Jesus. And it's just one of those moments that I'll always remember, but I'll never be able to duplicate. Because it's not like I'm going to go back to Israel and try to get in that cave and relive that moment. But my prayer has been, I don't want to be one of these guys that has to be in this amazing place and everything has to be right for me to think about the cross. I want to be a person who every day of my life I'm struck by the love of Jesus. Like every day I want to think about the cross at some point during the day. Even if I'm sitting in traffic, I want to be one of those guys that can be sitting in traffic and suddenly think about what Jesus did for me and then be broken right there. I want to be standing in a market and think about the blood of Jesus Christ and just go, okay, this is the greatest thing in my life. This is the greatest love of my life, and no one's ever loved me like that before.